we should have the defense bill passed now, but we're not going to do this funding until next year. It's totally inconsistent, unsafe, and the rest. So you just have to ask them that. But it just shows you how determined they are not to invest in the American people.
It's happening. The lawmakers are discussing a huge process on passing a new bill. These bills would have a great effect on the American people. However, folks, the Democrats are raising concerns on the United States right now. In this moment, we don't know what they're going to do about this fourth stimulus, because Kevin McCarthy signaled his support for today for some cuts in defense spending amid the growing tension with the White House and GOP leaders about whether another stimulus should be sent out today. Well, let me tell you one thing, it definitely should. During an appearance, Kevin McCarthy was asked if he was willing to cut defense spending as part of a reported deal with the GOP caucus in order to freeze spending at 2022 levels. While McCarthy disputed estimates that such a deal would result in a $75 billion cut to defense spending, something that people don't even want to admit is the fact. McCarthy told Fox, "It's back if we go to 2022 levels. There was the spending just 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's not cutting defense by $75 billion. So, the speaker also noted that every single level of the government should be looking at ways to spend less taxpayer money, but Kevin McCarthy remains timid as tensions grow within the White House GOP over possible reductions to defense spending. As a result of the deal, McCarthy reportedly struck in his bid to secure the speakership. Now, to cap discretionary spending in the fiscal year 2022, that would effectively cut $75 billion, everybody. $75 billion from the $900 billion of defense spending that the Democrats have and that the Democrats want. The Republican House majority also passed its first bill this week in an effort to revoke a boost in spending for the IRS. McCarthy announced that it was the first order of business because government should work for you, not against you. The bill passed a 221 to 210 vote along the party lines. It would rescind the budget increase of $80 billion given to the IRS earlier this year for the IRA. So now, however, the Biden administration has also threatened to make some big changes. And this is what I'm talking about. With Congress divided between Republican-led House and Democratic-held Senate, the policy priorities of either party may pass in a single chamber, but are unlikely to succeed in both. Partisan measures, therefore, have standing a little chance of becoming law, and the current Congress does not expect to pass a bill, major one that is, that advances the partisan platforms of Republicans or Democrats. Some analysts have worried that Republicans infighting in the recent rules package are a sign of more alarming things to come. They fear that the House may not be able to approve a must-pass bill, including government budgets and bills to raise debt ceiling. Congress holds the purse strings. It allocates the funds to federal agencies and programs, folks. And appropriations bills are passed periodically through Congress. But when it runs out, well, things are done. It's over for them. I do want to say that the Congress holds and last year that needed to approve an increase in the government borrowing power known as the debt ceiling. This means that Democrats warned that if the Republican-held House plays politics too much with the issue, it could lead to a disaster.
So the large ones would go first with much more time for the smaller ones. We sought to simplify it. The final rule allows small banks and others to work together with their industry associations to help with reporting. We did a lot to make changes, but we had to implement the statute as the court directed.
Thank you. Now, would you also discuss the benefits to small businesses of all types will see?
New relief checks will be sent out to eligible Social Security, SSI, and SSDI VA beneficiaries. However, lawmakers suppose that extra boosted payments should go to a more targeted group of people, and specifically Social Security recipients. Within the plans the U.S. government has to benefit people in need, we can find 3 different ones: Social Security, SSI, and SSDI. These 3 can sometimes be combined, but not always. The date for receiving the Social Security supplement coincides every month with the first day. The amount of money we will receive will depend on many factors, but what is certain is that this supplement has a maximum of around $841. Most seniors count on Social Security benefits in retirement to help them cover the cost, but knowing how much you'll get isn't always easy. There are several other factors that affect this, including your age, when you claim, your birth year, and your income throughout your year. This month, several prominent senators introduced a bill into the household that would expand Social Security benefits by $2,400 a year and fully fund it for the next 75 years past the year 2096, all without raising taxes by 1 penny on over 92% of American households. Lawmakers introduced legislation following the recent release of an annual report by the trustees to the Social Security and Medicare trust funds that showed Social Security currently has $3 trillion surplus and can pay out every benefit owed to every eligible recipient until 2034. Under this bill, Social Security benefits for current and existing recipients would be increased by $200 a month. It would also increase the cost of living adjustment by measuring and spending patterns for seniors by adopting the CPI for the elderly. The new legislation, the Social Security Expansion Act, would raise the earnings cap on Social Security taxes as earnings are taxed up to $147,000 a year. The proposal would also update the special minimum benefit to make it increase and index the benefit level so that it equals to 125% of the federal poverty line, or about $17,000 for a single filer who had worked their entire career. Rising inflation and gas prices are also making it hard for people to meet all their needs. Several states are working on proposals to help residents offset the impact of inflation. Kentucky is the latest state to join this growing list, and a stimulus check from Kentucky could give residents a one-time tax rebate worth $500. Both the chambers in Kentucky have come up with different plans. The Senate has proposed a one-time tax rebate, while the House wants to reduce the income tax from 5 to 4%. Specifically, the Senate approved a $1 billion rebate, while House bill proposes reducing the income tax rate. The House bill also calls for additional rate reductions to zero if the state hits revenue goals going forward. So folks, what are your thoughts on this? Is President Biden finally going to do what he promised and send out stimulus checks sooner than later? Tell me what you think.
Senator Langford.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Thank you for all the witnesses here as well to be able to talk this through. My state is somewhat unique in this conversation today because if you're in Oklahoma, the eastern side of my state gets a tremendous amount of rain, and the western side of my state is the stopping point on it. And so we face intense droughts in the west, and we're growing tall timber in the east. So we get this. So let me walk through a couple of things that may be unique to my state, but also may translate into other areas. Moving waters by pipeline and actually trying to be able to transition water from east to west at times in some of these border states and areas. Is that being explored at all as options and possibilities? Obviously there's compacting, there's other things with other states as water continues to be able to move south across the east, but how much is that even being discussed? Student.
We are looking at all options, but certainly being able to utilize what's in basin, what we have within our reservoirs is our priority. A lot of our projects require authorization of Congress with a feasibility study. And so should that be where Congress wants us to go, that's what we're doing. That's what we will do, but we'll say that I'm focused on what we have now and what is in our basins at the moment.
It has been interesting to me that in the past, go back several years ago, we actually had to have an act of Congress to move water from within my state from east to west because it was a different reclamation area, though it was Oklahoma.